Gather round, everybody. Today on the Academy stream, I have a spooky story to tell you all. 'Twas the night of Proving Grounds 2022 spring, the first round of Proving Grounds. The amateur teams, they had practiced hard, gaining reflexes faster than thieves, and doing big damage in an area of effect. We all thought they were ready to test their skills against their foes, but they were mistaken.
Ooh.
The Academy teams, they were far too fierce. Their shot calling was too precise, and their laning phases were too clean. They ravaged the amateur teams one by one, damning them to the place that no team ever wants to find themselves. The lower bracket.
Dun dun dun!
The Barrage Boys had bailed on us. They were no orgs, leaving us to overdose on hopium as Amateur was drowned in Team Liquid. But fear not, children, fear not. Legend has foretold of a new beginning for Amateur. Of course, 2022 summer is promised to be the rise of Amateur, and here on the Academy stream is the first step to finding our new champion.
Forward on this one. Doxa picking up the one. Trickster goes down to the backside to Shoshi. Shoshi barely avoiding that W coming out of Links, and now the chase is on. It's Doxa versus Shoshi. And what a bubble by Doxa. The Paddle Star's not going to come through the ball.
And the Pantheon ultimate will arrive eventually.
Here we go. Attempt against. Here comes the realm. It gets stolen away. Honori takes it. He takes the life of Vex as well. He will take the lives of Winthrop. Much more scrappy, skirmishy fight going for Perry. Perry's able to back up in time as the person guard goes up. Now
Sketch.
Perry goes into the face of City Witty.
Sketch
As LeGrade picks up another one. It's going to be a double kill. He's looking for more though. Goes after Faisal. Faisal hops on, is able to complete the jump, but Faisal's still alive. Faisal's going after LeGrade, but Existence is on the jump. Will LeGrade survive? Answer's gonna be no. Faisal!
Use those long range. It won't go down just yet. Psycho. Okay, he dash forward. Dark Passage.
Oh, huge! Charm
Detention!
Wood gets the snipe from detention!
Scoop just stays alive. As actually, we've seen a flank.
With the charm!
Three-man
stops
charm,
it.
but it doesn't do any damage. It doesn't do any damage. They're not here yet, but it has bought time. It's bought time, and they're locked up. Griffin has to run away. The reposition comes through, but there's a reset for Scoop.
Scoop.
Can he carry the fight? Scoop's got two. Jeremy's in trouble. It's gonna be three. It's gonna be four. Scoop may have given no team away. Back into the game.
Committing to the end. Anime Girl up in 20 seconds. That is the mid lane inhibitor turret dead. Ezra ultimate used into the base, Desirux.
Oh, here we go. Call
The
the force goes
minions!
off to go after Shochi, able to get the knockback on Shochi. Shochi falls before getting the shockwave off, but the minions are taking down the base. The minions are doing work. Redbird have to do work faster. They're going after the Nexus towers, but the Nexus towers are
TP!
healthy. Trevor doing
Anime Girl's doing
going
it!
after the Nexus tower number one. It will fall. There's Anime Girl. He's
Anime
teleporting
Girl!
into the base. He is going for the back door. Structures are getting destroyed.
No way!
Some way! Immortals! AoE! Backdoor Redbird!
And welcome, everybody, officially now to the Academy stream, where we are coming in with the first day of action of the 2022 Summer Proving Ground Circuit Qualifier number 1. I am your host, Hawk, here on the Analyst Desk, but joining me are, of course, Rude Dude and Avril. How are you all doing?
Very well today, Hawk. Super excited. 2 games on the way. Great way to start out Proving Ground Summer.
I'm so excited for 3v2-0. Just can't wait for it.
Ooh, all right. I'm liking that spiciness already, but thank you guys so much for joining me, of course. We're very happy to be here. It's summertime, you know, the weather's beautiful. It's Memorial Day weekend. I hope everyone's had a great time out in the sunshine, enjoying time with their family, maybe at the pool or at the beach. I clearly enjoyed my son at the beach, maybe a little too much. But of course, if you have not seen the Proving Ground Circuit Qualifiers before, we do have a little video by Desirux explaining how this format works.
By Unify. 32 teams will compete in a 5-round Swiss Open qualifier to decide who will advance to the 16-team group stage. The Swiss format matches teams with the same record against each other as the rounds progress. This means in round 2, the 1-0 teams will play each other, while the 0-1 teams will do battle, and so on. The 16 teams to reach 3 wins by the end of round 5 will move on to the group stage, where they'll be seeded based on their results in the Swiss. Each group will play in a best-of-3 double elimination bracket to decide who will advance to the playoff stage. The playoffs will be single elimination best-of-3 matches up until the grand final best-of-5 series. Teams will earn points based on their overall performance. Here's how the numbers break down. The top 10 amateur teams across both of the Proving Grounds circuit qualifiers will qualify for the Proving Grounds. The Open Qualifiers begins May 23rd. You can check out those games on the Unified Twitch channels, and groups begin May 30th. Make sure to watch all the games on twitch.tv/academy and twitch.tv/path2LCS. Which of these aspiring champions will rise to the top in the summer of 2022? Come see for yourself.
Thank you so much, Desrex, for an incredible explanation of the format. Of course, today is going to be the first round of those best-of-3 double elimination group stages, so make sure you all are staying tuned for all of that awesome action. Winning this game or losing it does not guarantee you a spot out of the group stage or eliminate you, but it absolutely sets these teams up for success moving forward. But in case you missed it, there were 32 teams that started the tournament. Only 16 now remain, and we're going to go over to Read 'em Right for a little bit of an explanation of what happened to the Open Qualifier, just in case you missed it.
Hello, I'm Reed. We're going to cover the action of 80 games in OQs in 80 seconds with a lot of speed, and I'm so Reed, which we're going to cover speed read. Let's go! EG Prodigies only have one stumble at the hands of the number 1 seed, but just like the other team, it's all about the playoffs, baby! Hunter Nexus' closest game was their first against DK Crew with a 10k gold lead. They really took to heart Ariana Grande's song, Thank You Next, in their naming process, Richard 5-0. Third party utilized Viego to secure their spot in the top 16 in 4 or 5 games. Sources say much believes this is just a summer fling. The other repeated 2 champions in 5 games, AoE Ginger Turmeric, which is as versatile as the ingredients they are named after. 3-2! Witch just sported one of the best kitty aces in the tournament with Graves, but 100 next stopped out a cigar in the final game, leaving AoE at 4-1. Jinx Kittens put up a very strong week, only losing at 4-0 finalist AoE Esports in Game 3. It's safe to say these cats have claws meow. Starting 0-2 and then going 3-0, CLG Facial Defense is not just a name. 301, 297 less games than they predicted. That'll do. Team Penny made the top 16, but the results are, well, not in yet. Banana Slamma! Pluto as a planet may not be in the solar system anymore, but the support for Supernova is in its group stage. On the back of Plexus Nautilus, Cincinnati Fear pull out the spot-securing win over some Fruit Basket Warriors of Sunshine, claiming the clouds were in their eyes. Team Fish Taco finished 3-2, which was 1 win below Taco game, and once and for all proving that generally every taco beats Fish Tacos by comparison. Maryville, fresh off their finals, brought the college fiestas to the Rift and beat their opponents with experience. They dropped 2 games, but seeks get degrees. AoE Random was just that in the group stage, went win-loss, 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 role-playing the coin flip team just to perfection. And this is speed reading with me, Reed. Back to you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Reed. What an insane speed reading. Such a beautiful recap. But of course, that's all in the past now. It's time to look forward for the group stages. First up, we've got groups A and B. B is, of course, the group we will be covering with our first games today. And I'm just going to turn it right over to you guys. Any thoughts on this initial group setup?
Ooh,
So we're covering Group B, and we've got Jake's Kittens third party. I actually really like both of these groups, and I think that going in, obviously Jake's Kittens have got some fairly well-renowned players, and I think that that should be a fairly exciting match to start us off, to really set us up for what could be a great set of games in total for PGCOQ number 1 for summer.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be extremely exciting looking forward. And of course, later on in the day, we'll have, tomorrow we'll have the other 2 groups on for you guys as well, Group C and D. Of course, don't forget to check out Group A action over on the Path to LCS stream. You'll get to see 100 Thieves next take on the DK crew, the Banana Slammers themselves, in the first match of the day. But speaking of those matches for today, what we've got up first, as already mentioned, Jake's Kittens up against third party. That will be starting us off here in just about 10 minutes. And looking at these matches, Avril, I'll turn it over to you first. How are you feeling about these teams?
I think these games are actually going to be way closer than the games on the past LCS stream. So these games are not to be looked over. These are going to be really entertaining. You guys should tune in for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, you're talking about those predictions, of course, for all the games and everything. And we did reach out to all of our talent, and we have gotten some predictions in for the games in that are coming up today. So maybe we can bring those up on screen and look at what all of our friends have said their predictions are. Seems like, okay, Dylan, already with the third party. Avril, I know you said third party 2-0. What are you thinking about that?
I am so mad. I hate all these people now.
Except Dylan, right?
Yeah.
Dylan picked third party, so that's fair. I also realized I'm in the minority for the Marieville Fear game.
Yeah,
I'm
actually amazed.
Fear.
Only two casters picking Fear. It does seem like we're pretty split on the fish taco ginger turmeric, but dude, I do have to say I'm a little sad. I know in the reveal show you were so high on DK Crew. Where is the prediction over 100 Thieves next?
Okay. Results-based analysis. They played in OQ's game number 1. They get a rematch here, but they didn't win it in the first round. Okay, that's all. That's all. Okay.
All right.
I still have faith. They'll make it out of groups. I believe in it.
All right, I'll give you a pass. Results-based analysis is, of course, the only way to analyze games. There's no other correct way. So I'll give you a pass on that. But, you know, we made some predictions of our own. Not just game predictions, of course. Those are very important. But some predictions about things that might happen in this series. And we, as a desk, we decided to make a bit of a bingo card. So let's look at what we've got here. Maybe talk about some of these squares, what we're expecting from the series today. Rude, I'll pass it over to you first.
What is that center tile? That's okay. We'll get the freebie.
Not free SM.
Definitely not. Well, I think the most important part is to remind as well that this is a day-long bingo card that we're trying to fill out, right? So this is going to have some points alluding to both sets of games that we've got on today. I think Game 3 should just be a given, as Avril alluded to. This is two sets of games that should be very close. I think that Game 3 is kind of going to come regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And we've got some fun champion ones in there. You know, Wukong 100% presence. I feel like most people would agree. It was one of the strongest junglers on the previous patch. It was 96% presence, I want to say, in the OQ. It's probably better on the durability patch, so maybe expecting some things like that as well. And we'll keep you guys updated on the bingo card as we progress through. But enough of the, you know, talking about the different games and everything. We got the first match of the day. Jake's Kittens up against third party. I know we've been throwing around a few thoughts here and there about the teams. Avril, you came out swinging with the third party 2-0. What are we looking at when it comes to these two teams? How are we expecting them to play on the Rift? Avril, I'll turn it over to you.
I mean, honestly, it is kind of like just like this underdog mentality where I want the underdogs to win, because obviously everyone is expecting Jake's Kittens to win. But I think 3P has a really strong mid laner. And he's a really interesting champion pool, and I think they can win through that lane.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rude, dude, any thoughts on that as well?
You know, that's maybe the one place on this matchup that I would have hated to go towards if I'm looking at this from 3P's perspective, right? Jake's Kittens mid laner is Ryoma. This dude placed 3rd in Proving Grounds in spring.
Might be good at League of Legends.
Might be pretty good at mid lane. I think that Jake's Kittens have got a very stable mid matchup, and hey, if third party can exploit mid lane and can get a ball rolling through mid lane, then the sky's the limit for them. What can't they do in this tournament? But it's getting over that initial hurdle that they'll have to prove to me.
Well, absolutely. And I like that we're already going towards this mid matchup as well, because when I look at these two teams, you know, obviously Ryoma is Ryoma and a very good player, but Messages has been someone that's really come onto the scene recently, first split back in 2021 summer, and has played really well, particularly in the spring. I think Messages got a lot of deserved recognition for the level of play that he was playing at, and sort of being one of the big carries for this third-party roster. So, you know, although staring down a mid laner like Ryoma is very daunting, to say the least, having a mid laner like Messages is absolutely a phenomenal opportunity for him to be able to really show off what he's capable of. And looking at the two players alongside these mid laners as well. So often we talk about the mid jungle 2v2. Yeah. And if we want to look at two newer players, of course, for Jake's Kittens, it's Aaron. And for the side of third party, it's Munchie. Newer junglers with one new mid, one very experienced, but all of them extremely talented. What are we looking at from them in the early game to maybe get this game going?
I think this is where I would like to punish Jake's Kittens, if anything. Aaron, obviously, the newer piece just in this competition as a whole, in competitive play as a whole, for Jake's Kittens. So I think that if third party are going to try and exploit anywhere, I would love to see Munchie try and go for some crazy pathing, potentially use some of that mid lane early priority that we can hope for messages to get. They, can go for some early invades, try and put Aaron down a little bit in those early stages, and then you can use that potential mid jungle 2v2 to be a snowball mechanism to help the rest of the game.
And I feel like, to go off that as well, we oftentimes see in a lot of these matchups where it's sort of like experience against inexperience. A lot of times a good strategy for the inexperienced team is bring the experienced team down to your level, try to throw them off their game. And I think that is a very valid strategy. If Munchie sort of gets involved, tries to keep Aaron down, it could really work out for these teams. But looking at, the other lanes, of course, the mid jungle will be very, very important, I'm sure. But that's not the only lane in the game of League of Legends, as much as mid laners like to think that it is. There's also a bottom lane, and these bot lanes, again, very well stacked for these two teams. An inexperienced ADC for third party, Lunar, someone that has really burst onto the scene and played extremely well, up against Scooped, an ADC that has been around for a very long time. But I think the most important thing to keep in mind is the ADC meta has changed a lot since the open qualifier when we last saw these teams because of the durability patch. And Avril, I know you are, of course, a very prolific ADC main in your own right. So I'm wondering if you sort of have any thoughts as to the expectations from both the champions played in the bottom lane and sort of maybe the play styles that we can expect from these two teams.
I think the way Scoop plays and the way, the champions that are strong now, this is definitely, I feel like, Scoop's, playground. The way he plays, I've seen him play, he really enjoys these scaling champions with low mobility. Aphelios, I haven't seen his Kog'Maw, but I'm sure it's going to be played from either team. And I think Aphelios and Kog'Maw have similar play styles, and I think the Scoops definitely has the advantage in this bot lane matchup.
Yeah, and you touched great, Hawks, a little bit on then the sort of lack of experience, I suppose, for the 3P bot lane. This is a great time to mention as well that the support just coming in, also fairly new to the competitive scene, is up against Scooped, who was a Premium Grand Circuit Qualifier 2 champion. This is a player who, granted, last split was fairly new, but got his taste of experience and went all the way to the end with it. So, touching on the champion pool being very well suited to the meta, this is going to be one of those incredibly challenging bot lanes for 3P if they want to find something from it. Because we haven't even mentioned the support for Jake's Kittens, but Prismal, the role swap from AD carry, that's also a huge point to play against.
Yeah, I feel like every autofilled support is better than any support mains could ever be.
Based
I swear to
facts.
God.
Oh, wow.
Prismal,
Okay, yeah.
Okay, Prismal is for sure gonna be so cracked on support. I've seen him play support anyway, so especially because he knows what an AD carry wants to do in the lane, and being able to have that synergy with another ADC carry player, this lane is probably over.
Well, and, I feel like I saw a lot of discourse when C9 was doing the whole thing with Sven role swapping to support on Reddit and Twitter and stuff. People were talking about how, hey, Sven's actually probably going to be pretty good at support because, as you just said, ADCs know how other ADCs want to play. So they would know what they want from their support. And Prismal was one of the most prolific ADCs in Academy last season. Or last split, excuse me. So I feel like, I agree. I feel like he should have no problems down in the support role.
Yeah, common take, I think, for this Jake's Kittens bot lane is you've got Scoop 2, like we say, fairly fresh into the scene, obviously had that taste of glory, and with Prismal at his side, I think that their ceiling is really untapped as of yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Prismal likes to roam. We put it on the bingo card. Prismal likes to roam top, and we'll see if that one happens. But we've got just a couple minutes left before we get underway into the draft. So I've got a very important question to ask you guys. Of course, everybody wants us to put our money where our mouth is. So, predictions for the series. Jake's Kittens up against third party. Avril, I do believe we are starting with you. Who you got and how many games?
2 games, 2-0, 3P.
All right, we're sticking with it. I love it. I love the spicy takes, the beautiful graphic slides across the screen. I'm loving it, Avril. Rude dude, are you in agreement?
Okay, close. Also 2 games, but unfortunately, Oh, unfortunately, Jake's Kittens 2-0.
When you said close, I was like, whoa, did you actually? I was
The numbers
worried
are
I
the
would
same.
be the only one that predicted Jake's Kittens, because I also do have the Jake's Kittens 2-0. We're talking so much about the experience. Lots of academy experience from this team, collegiate experience, amateur experience, all across the board. I feel like this team is absolutely well set up to be able to take this series. But
I think you're certainly not wrong. They can quite easily take this 2-0. I would love to see a more competitive competition. And hey, if Avril turns out to be right, then I mean, we're the ones that look silly, aren't we? So nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, I always love, you know, it's no fun when we're all in agreement, because also now one of us can be super smart when the series ends, you know, like if the series, no matter which way it goes, one of us is right, so we'll look so intelligent. Good job.
I don't care.
Somebody will.
Yeah, I don't care if I look like the black sheep in these predictions. Like, I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to stick to your guns. But it does seem like we have just a little bit of time before a draft. Couple lingering stragglers maybe getting into the lobby. But that gives us time to talk about top lane, something that we have not gotten to look at yet. And again, very important in this series. Lots of carries, I think it's fair to say, across the board here for these teams. And, you know, we got Porsche on the side of Jake's Kittens up against Dinka. And we have been talking about experience a lot. And Dinka is somebody on this third-party roster that provides a lot of that. So, you know, in terms of top lane, what are we looking at here from these two teams, and being able to either maybe play around their top side or allow their top side to be weak side and play towards bottom lane?
Permagank. Sorry, go ahead.
No. You seem like you've got a better take than I do. You go.
Permaban, Gangplank, and top is Flame Horizon. Dinka will be 100 CSF.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, Force is just Gangplank, no Gangplank. I haven't seen him do anything else other than gameplay. I mean, but if he gets Gangplank, the top lane is over. Also, Gangplank is so much stronger during the durability patch. Oh my god, he was already strong before, and Riot decided, when Riot decided to buff him out of nowhere, I'm still mad. Oh, but yeah. But I love Riot. I love Riot. Love Riot games.
I mean, there have been plenty of ADC in, you know, 2022 compilations based off GP barrels, just absolutely one-shotting people. Like literally one-shotting people.
Well,
but I think that's it's a great point that Porsche is a very good Gangplank player. I think there's a little bit of disservice done there, that if it's not Gangplank, there may be a Flame Horizon. Dinka is indeed a very, very palpable top laner, can get away with a lot of these champions. And I think that on Porsche's side, when he played on Radiant's last split, he was coming away largely weak-sided. And I think for Jake's Kittens, that playstyle itself probably going to fit quite nicely because of how much we've talked about Ryoma being a powerhouse in the mid lane, because of Scooped and this new champion pool that we expect to see on this durability patch come to fruition. I think that Porsche is going to slot in very nicely.
And I will, like, sort of, I feel like really what we're getting at here for the top lane is the difference of flexibility versus maybe a more defined play style. Because I think Dinka is someone that has shown a lot of different hats, if you will, in the top side over the years. Can play carry, can also not play carry, and sort of do a lot of that stuff. Whereas for the side of Jake's Kittens, to your point, Rude Dude, it seems like this is a team that has a very clearly defined playstyle. They want to play through their very young jungler and very talented mid laner. Scooped can be an extremely reliable late game insurance carry, right? I mean, we just saw in the hype video the quadra kill on Jinx to bring no team back into the game. Like, he always is one of those carries that can kind of bring it back. And then Porsche will be chilling on the top lane island. Meanwhile, we don't have as much of an idea, I think, of what to expect from third party, but that is sort of, I do think that is sort of that big question mark that we have. But we are going to throw it to a quick break in just a moment. We're having just a couple technical difficulties with the draft, but I assure you we will be back in soon. But we want to hear from you out there in the chat and on Twitter. Make sure to tweet, hashtag We Are Unified. That way we can hear your thoughts, and maybe, just maybe, you can get on stream. But we're going to go for a break. Make sure you don't go anywhere, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Hello, everybody. First things first, Max. Two quick things. One, we apologize for the quick delay. Two, watch this. Ready?
Ah, okay,
See?
okay.
It's pretty good, right? Like,
It's pretty good, yeah. You drew those, right? I saw you stream earlier.
I did draw
They're
these.
looking really
We have
nice.
two teams up on here. It's third party versus Jake's Kittens. Again, first of all, thank you to Hawk and the rest of the desk for, filling some time as we had a little bit of struggles to get into game, but we're finally here, Hawk. Smacks. It's the summer split.
It is the summer split. We got Hawk on the brain because he did such a nice job hosting earlier. Shout out to Hawk and the gang on the desk, Rudude and Avril. It was a great time. We heard some fun predictions over there. They had a bingo card as well. I will say, I think the one where it says messages is going to solo kill Ryoma. That one might not happen. That one's going to be pretty tough, but maybe we'll get a bingo.
It's in one of the corner spots, too. That's like a pretty crucial part of the bingo board because you can fill like 3 different ways to get the bingo. So, I don't know. Maybe that could be a bit of an issue. I also did see that there were a couple of like casters make a joke about this, casters make a joke about that. I'm going to try not to like explicitly think of those as we go into the game, but I don't know. I feel like the puns are probably bound to happen one way or the other.
I don't actually remember which ones those were. I was only looking at the messages. I hope
it was just so
happens.
egregious. Like, what is this?
I wanna see him do well. I think messages is pretty impressive. But yeah, welcome everybody. We got day 1 of the summer split. Well, we had the OQs from before, but we're into the top 16. We're into the group stage, and it's gonna be a great time. We're finally back here at Grapes.
I am so excited to be back. We got the summer vibes coming through. We got both the matching shirts, got the summer vibes.
Yeah.
Beach ball back in the back over there. So things are going well, and I think that it's about time that we start up summer. Sure, MSI just ended, but got some more NA League of Legends to come.
Yeah, and Evil Geniuses did pretty well there, top 4. We don't have the Evil Geniuses Prodigies team on the stream today, but we have them in the tournament. Evil Geniuses. It's a summer for living evil, I think, Grapes. Today, though, we have Jake's Kittens versus Third Party. We already mentioned Third Party a little bit. I wanna talk a bit about Jake's Kittens because this team is really interesting to me. They've got 2 players directly from Academy, of course. They've got Ryoma and Prismal coming down. Prismal, of course, role swapping to support, and it's in a bit of an interesting shell here, Grapes. I feel like because they've got a few players who like Aaron. A lot of people probably haven't heard of Aaron at all. He's 16. He just joined the league. He's been playing solo queue for a while, and now all of a sudden he's jungling for Ryoma.
I think, if you take a look at the lineup here, and if you've been watching the OQs, you're going to know that Aaron has been doing really, really well. But as we, get into this game, get ready for the draft to take place, looking at Jake's Kittens, definitely the experience is down towards that bottom half of the map. Ryoma, of course, has played a long time. Prismal now role swapping down to support. And, of course, Scooped winning PGCQ number 2 with no team in the last split. And up top, we have Porsche, who is very young and has been around the amateur scene for a little bit, but finally getting a really, really good spot alongside Aaron. And on the other side, it's actually really interesting because on third party, the most experienced player on their team is up in the top lane in Dinka.
And for those top laners, a lot of that does come from collegiate too, because Porsche is right now on University of St. Thomas, will be going to the top 8 for CLL in Los Angeles in a couple of weeks, so very excited for him. But yeah, Dinka, the big experienced member on third party. This is a roster that didn't really have that from before. They had there are 3 main rookies that are still there, but also in the top lane, Zamudo, and they didn't have that experienced member here for Dinka. Now with him on the roster, it is sort of that North Star for the team that he can be, where he brings that experience, he brings that that value in the game to these guys who haven't had a lot of experience in that regard outside of this year.
It's a philosophy that's really interesting to discuss in North American amateur as a whole. How you want to build up the young players. Do you just stick 5 rookies on a team and hope it works, or get a little bit more experience in to try to teach the young players a little bit additional things as we go throughout the season? So for third party, things worked okay, but not super well for them in the last split. They were, they made it, I believe, to the 13 to 16 spot as we head into the draft for game number 1. But I think coming into this spot, 16 teams, the top 10 make it to Proving Grounds. If third party spot, I think they'd be very pleased with themselves.
Yes, and third party here, they will be on the blue side. Grapes, I want to bring up something very important here. In the first game of the split, we're on patch 12.10, and you can see it at the top of your screen right there. It's 10B, so we have a few of those like hot fixes in here, but it's the durability patch. Every single champion in the entire game was changed, and you and I, we went through a few of the solo queue stats see if there were any standouts, any champions that looked really, really out of line. I think the biggest thing that stood out to us was the bot lane meta.
Yeah, bot lane, things look really interesting, at least in terms of solo queue. Of course, I believe this is one of the first competitive games on the new patch this split, or just at all, throughout the entire world. So for a lot of these teams, not necessarily the best read on the meta by watching other regions, but maybe looking at solo queue are some things. And down to the bot lane, I think the two biggest things, Smacks, are that enchanters are really good, and hyper carry ADCs are also really good.
The the most important thing to me. Things like the Twitch, the Kog'Maw, the Vayne, the on-hit damage is really big. I've even been seeing some builds where people are rushing Rageblade now.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how much we're going to see of that, but back in the past, when Kog'Maw was a really big champion, that was a pretty viable strategy. This was before mythic items existed, but it did actually see a lot of prevalence as Kog'Maw had a lot of on-hit damage. Like the Lulu with it were really good. And I think that that is probably the biggest thing that you can bring to the table as a hyper carry bottom lane. But there are a few ways you can go about it if you don't want to go for that strategy. We've also been seeing a spike in utility marksmen. Things like the Ashe, the Varus, the Jhin, I think is a really big one that we'll probably be seeing a lot of.
I'm a big fan of the Jhin, especially on the side of third party. I think Lunar can navigate this champion really, really well. And if, that's the kind of avenue they want to go, especially with the strong side top laner in Dinka, could be the place for third party to really show their stuff. As we're headed into the first ban phase, just a quick note, due to the delay that was unfortunately caused by Jake's Kittens, they have lost the first 3 bans of this game number 1. As we go through the rest of the series, they will have the rest of their bans, but with third party being on this blue side, having the lack of bans on Jake's Kittens sides means a lot of these power picks are going to get through.
I'm thinking that the direction they're going toward is Wukong, based on that Lilia ban. This is one of the more recent on the patch that Lilia does work pretty well into the still strong titans of Wukong and Volibear. Jake's Kittens don't have the opportunity to ban that monkey away, so that's really where I'm looking at this champion being very prevalent. It was really big in the open qualifiers as well, and that was even on a patch before. Turns out Wukong's still pretty good.
And by the way, shout out to Avril, said if Porsche does get the Gangplank banned, it will mean that Dinka will Flame Horizon. So that's one step in the right direction for that 3P2-0. See if the rest of the pieces are here as we go through the rest of this draft. Senna taken off the board is interesting to me, especially considering how Jake's Kittens has Prismal down in the bottom lane. Of course, traditionally, you see Senna played by that marksman role, but Prismal can obviously has the potential to do that, being that former AD carry.
Prismal has been playing a lot of the enchanters as well, which Senna kind of is. It's the best of both worlds,
Yeah.
Let's Prismal play that marksman and also be the enchanter that we've seen him play a lot. He had that Nami game that you pointed out to me where he got 100% kill participation. Absolutely incredible stuff from him. As we're getting the first pick here, not quite the hyper carry or the enchanter, but the Talia very well could be a bottom lane pick.
It could be a bottom lane pick. This has been something that has been appearing throughout the meta and throughout the solo queue data that we were talking about earlier. Talia at this point is a 3-way flex. Can play jungle, can play mid, and can play bot. And, if we have a Wukong on the other side, potentially for Munchie, if Aaron wants to pilot this, it's another example similar to the Lilia, where if you are Talia in the jungle, you can negate a lot of the armor that Wukong develops in the passive. But we're talking about power picks, Max. Wukong, Talia, and Lucian up. Maybe Jake's Kittens got the better of the trade.
Lucian is a really interesting one. Of course, a very powerful champion before the durability patch. We didn't see a whole lot of it when we were looking through those solo queue win rates, but Lucian hasn't really ever been that big solo queue champion. His strengths really come in dominating that lane, getting all of this extra damage, and with a player like Prismal on your team, you can expect something like a Nami to come through so Scooped and him can just completely dumpster a lane against Lunar and Just. Seem to be going for a more laid-back approach to the lane with the Ezreal lock-in for Lunar.
Yeah, they don't want to mess with Scoop. They've seen some of the highlights. They saw the highlight video before the stream, and they know that Scoop's a pretty dangerous man if he gets his hands on a very powerful AD carry. So Lunar will just be sitting back farming with those Mystic shots alongside messages on a very traditional pick here in the meta, even despite the new patch in the Ahri. Nami coming through secures that bot lane for Jake's as we head into the second phase of the bans.
Not too surprising there. This guy is very good at this champion, and I just want to see more tape on Prismal support. I've seen him play in the bottom lane for so long in Academy. Been one of his biggest fans of me. I'm a big fan of everybody, but Prismal especially. I've been following his career for a very long time. He's been one of the most players in Academy because, in my opinion, he's been that good at AD carry for this long, and I'm surprised he hasn't. But now that there's been a bit of a shuffle in that role, a lot of new rookies coming up to fill those spots in Academy for a marksman. He's down here. He's giving it a go on support, and I talked to him a bit yesterday. He did mention to me that if he go back up to Academy, this could be an avenue that he takes. He could just role swap over, considering the stigma around North American supports not being very good.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing about Prismal, while I've been watching him throughout the years, is that he's very, very intelligent in the way that he plays the game.
Yeah.
And that's a skill that really can apply to the support role, where you have really good knowledge around the rest of the map and can make the roams across the map, even on something like the Nami, a champion that doesn't necessarily prioritize roaming for the most part. So it'll be interesting to see what the side looks like here as we finish off the draft with a set lock-in after Nautilus and Gwen were selected on the 4-5.
Set is here. That is notably not Gangplank. So we'll see if Avril is right in this matchup. Set as the counter pick to Dinka. I was really expecting Jake's Kittens to go for the 5th pick top lane here, just because Dinka does have some really devastating counter picks, like the Olaf that we got to see from him in the open qualifier. Like if Porsche blind picked Set, you have to imagine that Olaf would be pretty devastating as a response. Dinka instead going for the blind Gwen supplements the Wukong as well. If he did decide to go for something that deals more physical damage, Porsche can very easily pick a tank, and then Wukong and the physical damage Bruiser just never ever deal any damage. Like imagine that's Ornn, and you just build Ninja Tabby Warden's Mail, like never killing that.
I really find this top side of the map really interesting here for both of these teams, because we were talking about Porsche, being a sort of weak side player as we're onto the Rift to start off the game number 1, but Dinka is a bit more of the strong side. Top laner, plays things like the Gwen, also, a lot of other strong side pickups here. And I think even though this is probably more towards Jake's Kitten's side, just in terms of seeding and kind of evaluations on all the teams, Dinka is likely the avenue that third party have to take to get that win.
Ooh, all right. We're starting this one off with some fun shenanigans here, Grapes. Jake's Kittens setting up in this bottom lane, likely just dropping a ward early on. This is something that's really valuable to get when you are playing double range. If you drop that ward in this middle brush and bottom lane, you can very easily avoid fighting for bush control as the support. And Nami typically is very frail at getting hit by the dredge lines and all the hook champions that come her way. Typically, Fish do have a losing matchup to hooks.
Yeah, actually, that is very true. Speaking of, I know something that the OQ casters were doing last week. We're taking a look around and seeing where the pool party skins are, as we are in the summer split. I don't think Prismal has a pool party skin, but champion definitely suffices. And as you said, it just depends on if Just is able to land those hooks here in that lane.
Yeah, the pool party. I think it's only Talia and Set that have those. Maybe Set has one. Can we take a look at Set real quick?
Yeah, Porsche, come on, you gotta do it for us, right?
Let's see. I love Pool Party Set. It's a great skin.
It is. It makes all the popping noises with the balloons and everything.
Great sound effects. We'll see. We'll have an update on the Pool Party counter later on into the game. But yeah, as you were saying, Scooped and Prismal just wanting to get that lane priority very early on. They did get that brush control, and now you can see that they are pushing in pretty heavily. And Lunar and Just are not getting what they want out of this lane so far.
Yeah, I find it hard to imagine they will for any time being. Not just because of the champions that are in that bottom lane, but also just the players that are in that bottom lane. I think Scooped and Prismal have looked very dominant in lane throughout the open qualifier, as well as kind of Prismal's ability to roam across the map. So I think that's kind of what we have to watch out for here. Big prio down in the bottom lane here for Jake's Kittens.
So we are, I believe, stuck on the screen at the moment.
Yes.
Unfortunately, wallowing in our shame that neither Porsche nor Aaron has selected the pool party variant of their champion, making us very sad. But we still have pool party smacks and grapes for you. We've got our florals ready for the day.
Can I just say I am a very big fan.
My temperature right there. Can you see that?
I cannot, but I remember you were talking about it earlier being really warm.
It is 84.7 degrees in this room at the moment.
That is not ideal, I will say. So you're really kind of characterizing. You're doing method acting almost for being in the summer split. Is that what it is?
We'll call it that. Yeah. I'll do anything for content. Is really what the answer is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very warm.
I will also say,
got a fan here, got a fan here, down there too.
also say I'm a big fan of all the kind of beachy, summery kind of setups that Unified has provided us here with the layouts. Really good
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
I like the waves coming across the screen as like the predictions were going. You know, there. Oh look, there they go. Look at the little guys,
Yeah, they're just rolling all around.
like little ducklings, just waves following each other.
I like how it also did the predictions with that too. So like it kind of the wave
yeah.
went over, and then Avril's random third party 2-0 ended up coming through, and then
And that's not random, okay? She believes in the process. And you know, I talked to their manager Kellex about this team a bit, and he was telling me. Well, first he was telling me about their new player Just in the bottom lane, which I was really curious about. And he was telling me that Just came in to the team after being a standout in the Core JJ in-houses, and they had him on the they had them in the bottom lane tryouts. Lunar immediately clicked with him on game 1. They already knew that they wanted to play with Just, and he's been really impressive for them up until this point. Now, as they take the main stage here on the Academy stream, Kellex was telling me that he's really proud of Just for being like a jack-of-all-trades player as well. It's not every day you get a support player that's really good at both enchanters and the tanks. As we saw in that draft, the Yuumi and the Karma were banned away from him. He goes to the Nautilus instead. He's good at everything. And that's something that I really value in new support prospects, because, like I said, not every support can do that.
Yeah, playing enchanters as a support is definitely something that not a lot of them can often, turn to as an option. There's always the debates about, are engaged supports easier, are enchanters harder? Is that why sometimes they don't enter the meta as much? But I think here in the durability patch, with the updates and with all the data that we saw in the solo queue, Smacks, the enchanters are going to have to come out at some point, and I think this is the potential for some new highly mechanical supports to really stand out.
Yeah, we saw Janna at the top of the table, which you know she's been like floating around top 5 on the solo queue win rate stats for a while, but it's been a while since she's actually been she's in her rightful spot, her throne up at the #1 spot, the queen of solo queue support. I know Eve's probably very happy about that. Our resident Janna main friend, and yeah, I'm wondering if Janna actually does break her way into this meta as well. I mean, we're already getting Nami from Prisma right now.
It's really interesting because I think for Janna, like the whole experience with Janna this year was, of course, like the roaming top Janna with Smite running around trying to be that sort of secondary support. They nerfed the strategy, but they didn't really nerf Janna all too much. I think that she still is in a really good spot in the meta, and if it is hard to navigate, of course, but if players are able to pick that up, I would definitely appreciate that down the line.
Grapes, be honest with me. How many top lane Janna games did you play when it was good?
So I didn't actually play Janna. I thought that was too hard. Like, she was too squishy for me. I did a couple of Karma and a couple of Bard games with the Smite. And
okay.
I will say, did get a lot of LP from that. Not that I'm like highly ranked or anything, but especially just running on the map and kind of collecting chimes or just going with the roams, smiting things away. Fun time.
So, but you did play support item top lane.
I did. I am.
All right, that's him, officer. That's a solo queue felony. Arrest him right now.
Does it count if I'm low elo? Like, if I'm not like up there, like still like I feel like there's other ways to ruin games than just kind of picking Bard and running around. You know what I mean?
All right. The real question: have you ever played Master Yi Taric Funnel?
No, I have not done that. So
okay, that's good. You're only on strike 1.
What's the next point? If I have that, what's the next one?
Okay.
Where, like,
have you ever been a Shaco main?
Okay, yeah, that's definitely the third strike. I have not been a Shaco main. I don't think I've ever played a game of Shaco.
I thought you were gonna say that you were.
No, definitely not.
I would have had to dip out. We would need a sub.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of strong opinions about that champion. All things said, but
I have all of them. Yeah,
I have all the things. Once again, apologies for the slight delay getting into game. I believe one of our observers had a bit of a power issue, which means that it is a little bit difficult to get that game onto screen. But I mean, this matchup as a whole, Smacks, again, we were talking about this being potentially like one-sided with the expectations, Jake's being the 2 seed, third party being the 15 seed coming into the group stage. But I think Avril was right when she brought up that, this group is really close, especially considering Ginger Turmeric and Team Fish Taco are also here.
especially the three teams outside of Jake's Kittens, because based on how the OQ worked, we have one team that went 5-0. We have, I believe, 5 teams that went 4-1, and everybody else went 3-2, because you do need to get 3 wins in the OQ to qualify for this. This group has Jake's Kittens, who went 4-1. Everybody else went 3-2. So just based on that alone, does mean that it probably is going to be a bit more close. I also do want to point out that for third party, they did have some. They didn't actually play against a lot of the teams that qualified for the main event in their games. Most of their wins were against teams that did unfortunately bow out. It's mostly just going to be because of seeding. As we are back into the game, by the way.
We made it finally.
We're getting a big test here for third party to see what they can actually do against a really highly seeded team like Jake's Kittens.
Yeah, that is true. You know, normally with the Swiss format, you expect teams that are seeded lower to play against harder teams down the line, but not really the case for third party, all things considered. They, you know, again, played a lot of their wins were against these teams that are, unfortunately, as you said, no longer here. So if they want to kind of make it out, they have to play against all these teams. So
Wait,
what happened?
You said they are no longer with us, like they died. They are alive. They're.
I mean, I don't know if you saw like the whole skit that I did with Super Sunshine Fruit Basket Warriors, but
you did actually. Yeah.
They are no longer with us in this tournament, I guess. And you can grieve as much as you want, as we got to fight in the bottom lane. Scooped dashing right into Justice's dredge line here, so no hook onto the fish just yet, but Scooped actually taking a big chunk of HP.
Yep, here's that bullying that we can get from Aleutian Nami lane. It is so difficult to play against these two champions in the bottom lane. It's one of those lanes where you play against in a normal game and you're like, are we really that desperate for normal game LP, guys? Do we really want to have people have that little fun against us? But it just goes to show just how strong it is that it still does work in these highly competitive games here in the Proving Grounds, and Lunar level 2 had to recall already. This is not how you want to start a game of League.
Yeah, so even a nice, trade down there for the side of Lunar and Just. They still were unable to get the better in that trade, and so it is scooped up about 12 CS, only 4 minutes in. Trading up in the top side, Porsche actually getting the better hand so far. Crocs the Conqueror does not go for that Haymaker. Again, Smax, we were talking about how this top lane can really be broken open for third party. Right now, Munchie is not pathing down towards that way, but by the time the second camp spawn, Dinka might hit level 6. I think that's when the keys might start to turn.
This is why it's so valuable that Porsche was able to get that counter pick, though. Set is one of those only champions that you can actually continue punching away at Gwen under her W. It's really difficult to actually do that on a lot of these other champions, especially tanks, because she does just out-sustain you, but Set doesn't quite have that problem, as we're seeing again here.
Yeah, wow. Barely getting away from that. The immunity will make, the Haymaker damage not connect, but it will force that back out of Dinka. Already doesn't have that teleport, I believe, so big win for Porsche up in the top side.
Very phenomenal stuff here from Porsche. They're both teleporting back in. I think that was just a spectator thing.
Little bug, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're getting back into things. It's all right. Ryoma trading aggressively. You know, I do want to mention that Ryoma did go for the Electrocute build, and somewhere out there in the world, Cubby is so excited that this is happening. He loves Electrocute, full damage Lissandra. This is how they play it typically in the LPL. They just go for all of the burst damage that is possible on this champion and one-shot people where they can't even move because she has so much crowd control.
Yeah, you don't want any of that aftershock nonsense. You want the Chad, Lissandra build, jumping in, one-shotting everybody. You know, you can't. It doesn't matter if you tank if you kill them all first, right?
Yes, this is what Ryoma's going to be all about in this game. They've got so much damage on this team. Not a lot of tankiness outside of Porsche, who's going to have to be sort of the solo front line if Ryoma does indeed go for the full damage like Luden's Echo build. Luden's Tempest, my apologies. Yes. We're in 2022.
I still get confused with the items. No, don't worry about that.
It's
we're
really
all
bad for me because in Wild Rift it's still called Luden's Echo. And I sometimes cast for that, so yeah.
Okay, so now you just gotta kind of like do two different flashcards, two different sets of your mind for the different games. Man, that is confusing. In
PC mode right now.
Unfortunate, yeah. You see a bit of a gank here. Top lane might be opened up a little bit as Porsche is under the tower. Does have the ultimate available, but is forced to flash away. Munchie unable to close the gap just yet, and a nice blast cone out from Porsche.
Good job there from Porsche, really acknowledging what his outs were there. If the Blast Cone wasn't still there, I think that still is a play that makes sense because Ryoma was sort of in the area, but luckily the Blast Cone is there, and he gets to pop Munchie back on that side of the wall. Really nice stuff, and you can see that Porsche is getting antsy for some kills onto Dinka already.
Oh, we do see a trade on the other side of the map, though. Here comes Ryoma, does have that ultimate, going to use it right in onto Lunar, and that is first blood into the hands of Scoop. Jake's Kittens on the board to start things off, and they might look to continue the jive, but just will get out just in time.
Now, you definitely don't want to continue these dives right now, Grapes. The turrets do so much damage. I don't know if you've seen how hard it is to dive people, but they actually made it look pretty easy. Ryoma, he is going for that one-shot build. He did have the Electrocute on top of Lunar, flashing directly toward that target, and there's really no way for him to escape that. Just can't really do anything underneath this turret other than dredgeline one person, but it's effectively a 1v3, and Ryoma really sets that one up well for his team. Like you said, Scoop getting that first blood's a really big deal.
Yeah, the snowball will just continue to roll, so to speak, even though we are in the summer split for Scoop and Prismo down in the bottom lane. And good on Ryoma for getting the priority there in the counter matchup as well.
Thoughts on Sandball?
Sandball? Is that what we call it now?
If it's summer? I don't know.
I know Nunu
do
has
anything
like
else.
different like sludge balls with some of the skins that they have and everything like that. So it's a little bit interesting, you know. Not entirely sure what we call. I'm down to go for the sandball if you are though.
I just don't know if it would roll well. I think you'd have to.
Yeah.
You have to like make it mud or something. I don't know.
You have to like add
we
the
need
water.
Pool Party, Nunu, and Willump. That's really the answer.
Yeah, and that's the question: is it a ball of sand or does it turn into like a big sand castle? There's a lot of different possibilities. Yeah, right. If you are hiring for the skin development team, you know, hit my line.
Yeah, I mean we've seen your art in action, right? Drawing the team's logos and everything.
I will say
got
I do
quite the
trace
resume.
them. It's not actually like me drawing them. I'm not some art genius, but
You know, Grapes, you didn't have to say that. You could have just taken all the credit.
That is true. It is all me. I am Art Lord. Art Lord Grapes coming at you. More action potentially down in the bottom side, though. Jake's Kittens, again, sending their attention down, really denying Lunar here. Ryama's going to claw over the wall as well, and here comes that Weaver's Wall. Aaron going to lock in just. Lunar's able to get away, but not so lucky is the Nautilus kill going into the Talia to start things off, and it looks like Jake's Kittens will just back away. Huge turret play damage bot lane as well.
Even forcing the Spirit Rush, making Messages lane that much more difficult. This is looking like a very early first turret because of this. Just continuously attacking this lane over and over and over. I mentioned before, just in the isolated 2v2, Lunar was not having a fun time. Now it's a 4v2 again, and he just cannot catch a break.
Well, it's a 2v1 right now. I mean, that's why he's just sitting there. He literally can't even get into XP range at this point. Still doesn't have the ulti. 9.5 minutes into the game, and Scoop denies all the minions that he possibly can as well.
Wow.
Really nicely played by Jake's Kittens. They have the win condition down bot lane, and they are playing right to it.
And you can see that reflected in the gold right now, too. Nearly 4,000 already before 10 minutes. This is a good way to open up your entire split here for Jake's Kittens, really making a statement in the beginning of this group stage. And against third party too, they're showing no signs of weaknesses against these rookies. Even Aaron, the newest member on the squad, in terms of competitive experience, is really making these ganks work. That was a very well-placed Weaver's Wall, might I add.
Yeah.
It's kind of difficult to actually get those.
It is, and finding the right angles, of course, Lunar having that escape, but just is not able to get over. But, you know, it was still really, really nicely played by Aaron, you know, working towards that first item as well. Staying on pace in terms of farm with Munchie is definitely another crucial thing, despite going for a lot of these early game plays. Now we might see third party try to make a move. We see Justin Munchie around the area. Munchie does have the Rift Herald in hand, but they just can't break Ryoma just yet.
Herald certainly could be the next play the third party make. They really do desperately need this gold, and they need to get it down in the next 3 minutes so they actually do get some plate gold with it. It just all depends on where they want it to go. Lunar is really hurting for some gold. As you can see, it's a Sheen versus a Gale Force. Not exactly the most even matchup in that vicinity, but that could also just be that, like, third party may say, you know, Lunar, right now it's kind of a lost cause. Maybe late game you could do something, but we might want to give this gold to somebody else. Gonna be up to them as they are getting dove right now.
Yeah, here comes a tidal wave already. Munchie actually going to go for the trade on to Scoop to start things off. True Shot Barrage does finally come out. Lunar not going to be able to connect that one, and so with the wave cleared out, looks like third party will stay alive for now.
I actually really like that heads-up decision-making there from Munchie, just cutting off the minion wave and making sure that Scooped couldn't deal any damage. Even cutting off the culling right there. I think that was very clever from Munchie to escape that gank. But yeah, as you said, there could be a round 2 afoot. Prismal, no tidal wave. But as soon as Ryoma makes his way over, this is going to get so scary.
I have to get out your bingo cards, folks, because this is definitively Prismal headed towards the top lane. Scoop just getting plate after plate after plate, eating so well, and now Message is in a whole lot of trouble as well. There's the bubble by Prismal. Not enough damage to confirm the kill just yet, and now Munchie is going to force some flashes. Prismal and Aaron will get away, and that's the Wukong taking down the first kill for third party. Munchie still alive, going to dash forward again, and Prismal might actually go down as well. Finally, Ryoma secures the kill, and now he's looking for more, going in onto Messages with the turn. A double kill for Ryoma, and finally Lunar shuts him down.
Ryoma making the best out of a bad situation. He dives forward of all directions, catching out Messages and making it a 2v2. Not the best trade for Jake's Kittens, but again, they were caught out and they made that turn work. Scooped not even having to work for it. He gets a couple of plates top lane and they keep that gold lead going.
Big play coming out here. Of course, the dive top lane didn't really work, but catching out Messages here, Smacks, definitely was the big key for Jake Kittens.
That's one of those bubbles that you get on Nami where you just pop off after you see it in motion. It's a slowly moving circle arriving on top of Messages' head, and it still ends up working out. Look at this turn, though, from Ryoma. Doesn't even need the ultimate, just has enough damage thanks to that electrocute that I mentioned earlier. Yeah. This is why you go for the damage build.
It's not the Ludens, it is the Everfrost, so a little bit more, utility there for Ryoma, but still going to be doing a whole lot of damage, especially with all the gold that Jake's Kittens currently has in their pockets. Didn't add about 4K at the 13-minute mark, still have the potential for those plays to go down as well.
Prismal waving hello in the mid lane, not really going for anything too wild. There's no flash for Ryoma, so it's really difficult for him to get a full engage through, maybe looking for something with Aaron. It's not a very long cooldown for the Nami ultimate, so they've certainly got that one at their disposal for the future. Taking an update on the objectives here, you can see Scooped finding his 8th plate on the match as we're keeping count, looking like it's going to be 9. I don't know if he has enough time to take a 10th, but the turret will surely fall in the next few seconds.
Not enough time to get to that 14-minute mark, but now with the plates down, it will be easy to take down the turret eventually. We do see Munchie headed up to the area to try and punish Scooped. They're going to have to shut down this Lucian at some point, Max. Ooh. There they go. They're going to look. Depth charge in. Munchie does not land that Cyclone just yet. Finally, we get the knockup only onto Prismal, though. Teleport is coming in. Let's see what the turnaround for Jake's Kittens can do. It is a 1-for-1, but look at the damage coming in, and Ryoma is here as well. Locking down Munchie, shutting him down, and Lunar will fall as well. A kill into the hands of Scoop. Make it a double. Jake's Kittens dominate that fight.
Prismal certainly okay taking that trade, and look at Scoop. He's able to collect the turret in the end, keeping the gold again, just so insanely high. As Jake's Kittens, they're continuing to make these map rotations work. Aaron is in the right position every single time with this Weaver's Wall. You get so much map traversal with this champion, especially with the newly buffed passive too. You get all the movement speed every single time. I really love the way that this team is rotating around, and Prismal's not done yet.
Man, this is really aggressive lineup for Prismal, but he has all the will to do it. Porsche going to come in and finally get onto some of the action. Dinka trying to trade in onto Prismal. The face baker right back will stun the Gwen up. Ryoma's coming down as well. Can Dinka get the trade? The answer is surely no. Ryoma securing it with the Everfrost, and now up to the top side. Aaron going to get punished here for taking down that Rift Herald. Munchie getting onto the board with his second kill.
That's what happens when you go for 2 plays at the same time across the board. Jake's Kittens do give up 1 kill, but they do find the pick onto Dinka. I love the way that Prismal is just dancing in and out of these skirmishes. It's absolutely hilarious seeing him just swim around the outskirts of the Gwen, and Porsche really helping out, making sure that the showstopper brings Dinka to his knees. Very nice moves again. And Prismal, we mentioned it before, he's got 100% kill participation on Nami once more.
This is, on the Nami, I think, is the most interesting part of this, Not really playing that Lucian Nami style where you're just sitting in a lane trying to dominate. Prismal's roaming all across the Rift, and now we might see up in the top side a bit of a punish here for third party. They do take down that top tier 1, and now they're looking to turn onto Ryoma. Messages going to dash forward, but Aaron is here as well. Big stun in onto the Wukong, and Scoop is here as well. The Gale Force forward will secure the 4th kill of the game for the Lucian, and Jake's Kittens get punished for taking the turret.
Feels like third party are just continuously buying in to the bait here. Ryoma, he's sitting out by himself, or so it seems, and third party dives in once more. But again, Aaron is there, and they're doing it again.
Just play after play after play from Jake's Kittens. Tidal Wave won't find much, so it will just be Porsche forcing a couple of ultimates off with the flank, but you can see the goal just continuing to build here, Smacks. Jake's Kittens now 7k up.
Prismal, this is so relatable right now. He sees the crab. I do this so often on support. I just see a crab.
Please,
that's
somebody
up,
come.
Like, all right, come on over. I'm gonna take this one down. It's gonna be really slow, but I'm serving it to you on a silver platter.
If you don't come over here, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take all that gold all into my pocket.
Exactly. I'm ashamed to admit how many Raptor camps I have cleared as Nami in my life. It is many times.
Sounds pretty difficult. I don't know, with just the bubble, I guess, right?
It's very difficult. I have definitely tidal waved the Raptor camp before.
Oh my goodness. Okay. We're talking about, you know, the strike ones, the get him here officers. It's the only way the jungle camp's on the Nami Smacks. I don't know. I don't know if that flies here.
It's not stealing if nobody's there.
Speaking of stealing, just might have his life stolen right away here. You can't face check this jungle buff if it all belongs to Jake's Kittens. Ryoma on a killing spree.
Man, that's such a weird spot to die in, too, getting caught out inside of the red buff pit. Surely he thinks he's safe there, but nope. You can get over that wall so easily with Ryoma's frozen path, and that's exactly what it does, taking yet another structure. Haven't quite attacked mid lane yet. This is a really interesting approach here for Jake's Kittens. They just are relentless with their side lane, and finally now considering taking mid turret.
Ryoma gonna claw right over, forcing that defensive W out from Munchie. The first outer turret in the mid lane will finally go down. Scoop just continuing to get more and more gold. 700 gold shutdown at this point.
Wow, I wanna see just how much gold he actually has in this game. If we can like press X or something just to see the scoreboard there, because he's nearly at 200 CS before 20 minutes. Yep, that's 10k gold. Wow, that is insane. This is what happens when you play this Lucian Nami. You were saying that they didn't actually play too much in this lane. That's because it just went by so fast. That's how fast they were able to break apart bottom lane. Just took his time around this entire rift, taking every single thing on the map, and now Scoop is taking his rightful place as the main carry on this team, something that we were curious to see if he would actually be able to do, considering the carry potential that we've seen from Ryoma and Prismal in the past in their academy, and sometimes LCS games as well for Ryoma, but this composition is very clearly set up for Scooped to be the main character.
Yeah, and at least for, you know, the next few minutes or so, Scooped will be the strongest person on the Rift by a very long shot. Dinka trying to get something back as third party will look to force a play on the other side of the map as the Rift Herald has been popped on the top side by Aaron. Porsche is very tanky. Remember, the durability as well as just being a set in general is really dangerous for third party to look for the dive. Prismal also in the way as well. Ryoma gonna usher Shelly down here towards this tier 2, likely gonna be able to take it down.
I want to look again back at this bottom lane because we're seeing that Jake's Kittens, they have Prismal ready to respond to these plays every single time that third party thinks that they have something to go for. They just don't, because Jake's Kittens, somebody in the back shadowing every single time, whether it's Aaron or Prismal. They've just been doing such a phenomenal job of working as a team and cutting off any times that they could be punished.
Yeah, it's just so hard for third party. You can see they're trying to make the plays like here, but I don't know if it's going to work out too much. Prisma will get chunked down instantly as Dinka gets onto the board with the kill, but now on the other side, it is just falling here by the hands of Scoop once more. Dinka has a needlework, will chunk Ryoma out a little bit, and now Messages looking to land the charm. Beautifully placed. Ryoma forced to flash the Glacial Tomb defensively alongside that stopwatch. What can Scoop do? What can the rest of Jake's Kittens do? The answer is not that much. Shut down into the hands of Dinka, and third party might have found an angle back into this game.
Good moves there for third party. They cut off Scooped from his support Prismal there. They burst him down. They use all the crowd control onto Scoop, and then Prismal is literally just a fish in a barrel. That barrel being the red buff pit again. Every kill is happening over there. Both supports have died. That's crazy.
It is a very odd place, as you said, to just have a bunch of fights blow up. It does allow for some nice, you know, terrain differences here with some of the champions that we have in the Rift, but thinking back to this replay, it again, just as Jake Kittens maybe going a little bit too far forward.
What a cool flank spot.
Yeah.
very unexpected for him to arrive there. There's not enough vision for Jake's Kittens to actually go forward, maybe getting a little cocky right now. They do trade 1 kill over, but that's just not going to be worth it. They're giving over both of their supportive members here for Scoop, and that does cut down a lot of that playmaking potential that they have for the next few minutes.
And you can see the aggression that third party is still going for here. You know, after both the supports died, they could have just gone for the trade, but and gone away with it. But it looks like Jake's Kittens want to make a bit of a trade of their own. True Shot Barrage will spot out the Baron, but the side of Jake's takes it so fast. Talia, as well as this super fed Lucian, might be too much for third party to handle. Engage will start here by just Ryoma, looking for an engage tool. That message is missing out on the charm, but the damage is still coming through. Munchie landing in onto the shutdown, and Scoop will go down. Third party trying to turn this fight around. Now Ryoma, the only one left standing, as well as a 4-for-2. Porsche trying to do something. Health bars are an advantage of Jake's Kittens, and now Ryoma's looking to fight. That's the flash, that's the kill. Lunar goes down, and Jake's Kittens will defend themselves, staying even in the fight.
That's Messages again with the nastiest flank angles imaginable. Jake's Kittens just cannot get eyes on this player. His assassinations have been brutal, and he's able to bounce in and out of every single one of these skirmishes recently with that Spear Rush over the wall, back and forth with his flash at the end. Look at his flank here. They see him on the minions over there, but they're just not ready for it again. It's Prismal and Scoop getting caught out. They don't have any defensive mechanisms here at all. They have to go forward, and once they're attacked on multiple fronts, it just all falls apart.
And you think that that fight doesn't work out for third party. Messages misses the charm, misses the first big combo off of the flank. But they're still able to finish off the damage. Munchie had a great engage as well. Dinka with the needlework doing so much damage to that front line. And they still end up with that numbers advantage all of a sudden. Only 4 kills in favor, and now it might be more. Everfrost in, and now Scoop is under fire once more. Popping the calling and turning it back around onto Messages. A little bit too close to the sun for the Ahri, as now Jake's Kittens has a number advantage with the Dragon spawning.
Okay, Prismal, he's in melee range of the Gwen.
Yeah, here we go. Dinka might go down here in the middle of the team. Here comes Ryoma, just gets burst down instantly, and now Munchie will go down as well. Dinka and the Lunar have to run for the hills as the rest of Jake's Kittens are looking to seal the deal. Soul certainly in sight for them.
And we've found the downfall of Messages. Once they're all coming at Jake's Kittens from the same direction, it just doesn't quite work anymore. As Prismal, again, I don't think Fish
It's just
wins
bait.
this.
Oh no, Dinka so low, popping that stopwatch here, and he will go down with a dash over.
No
and
way.
that is another kill as well. They're doing 2 objectives at the same time, Smack. This Smack is all belonging to Jake's Kittens.
Can Lissandra solo? Okay, she can. All right.
Yes.
I was a little concerned about that one for a bit, but no. Jake's Kittens, they take the Hextech Soul, the Baron, the team fight, every single thing, all at once. And Grapes, again, it's because Messages did not quite find a flank that time. He was trying to be the main engage for his team and not recognizing that the rest of the squad was the supplement that he needed with all the crowd control and diverting the attention away from his target. This time Messages made it very clear his intentions, and that's when Jake's Kittens were able to respond. What an outplay by Scooped as well.
Yeah, it really looked like Scoop was going to go down, and again, it was just Messages just, you know, going a little bit too expected in that regard, and he might get singled out here again. Spirit Rush forward, going to cleanse away. Bubble dodged away from, but it won't be enough. Messages dashing away once more. There comes the Claw. Here comes Ryoma. Charm lands, but it's not enough. Jake's Kittens mid lane on a killing spree.
Porsche?
Porsche actually under a whole lot of fire. The turnaround might be there, but the Gorge Rigger heal is massive, and there is the showstopper, stopping all hope for third party. Dinka trying to get back, but Scoop still lives through it all. Aaron fighting just in the 1v1 of the Nautilus certainly doesn't win that. Another kill into the hands of Ryoma. It is just Lunar in the base of third party as Jake's Kittens are knocking on the door of the base.
One Ezreal remains and Scooped. He doesn't have any dashes quite yet, but he might be thinking about going in on this. Lunar, it's got so much damage. Okay, wait, the ultimate. Oh!
The lifesteal. Oh my goodness. Ocean Soul definitely playing a part in that as well. Scooped still just playing with fire, but it doesn't matter because he is so far ahead. Inhibitor down to the bot lane will fall. Not the game ending just yet, but you have to imagine it starts soon.
Yeah, feels like the game is ending just slower than you would expect right now, third party. Their days are limited. They do need to find more of those plays that actually got them into the competitive mid game that we saw, but it's going to be so hard because now they just have to turtle in their base. They are down inhibitor, they're down an inhibitor turret in the middle lane, and Jake's Kittens, they have a very clear path forward in this one, especially now with that Hextech Soul. It's going to be so hard.
Yeah, the amount of crowd control and damage that it does, I mean, it is big. Prismal might be in trouble though. Popping that stopwatch will get taken down. It is Lunar picking up a crucial kill. You know, despite how far Lunar was far behind in the early game, now leading third party in kills has to be a big win condition here.
You know, I'd say that Prismal got caught warding because of the role swap, but that would just be a lie. All supports do that. He's just getting indoctrinated in. This is the hazing.
Welcome to the you're the support main. You know best.
Yep.
Welcome into the club.
You gotta get those games out. You know, you gotta learn. You will die warding. It's just a way of life.
I mean, still a very, all things considered though, still a very impressive game from Prismo. We were talking about how, you know, we want to see more, and I think we are starting to see it here, especially now into the group stage. I think in a bit of trouble potentially. Gonna fight this 1v1 versus Ryoma. Does have a lot of healing, but the burst from the Lissandra is a lot. Does pick up the drop for a little bit of extra HP. Ryoma almost going down, but Prismal here to save the day, picking up the kill onto Dinka.
That was a nasty dodge, just through Dinka's own face, throws the needlework in the complete wrong direction. Ryoma even keeping his flash and the zonies. He had more tools at his disposal. Didn't quite need him, just needed Lissandra to slide around the rift like she does. Well done.
4 completed items now for Ryoma at this point as well. We're talking about Scoop, but he also is doing a whole lot of work, and now Jake Kittens might be punished a little bit here, but the culling is just so big from Scoop. The double kill already onto Lucian, and it might just be more. Lunar forced to run away. Claw coming forward. Ryoma picking up the kill with the Glacial Prison, and now Lunar will go down as well. The exhaust doesn't mean a damn thing. Triple kill onto the Lucian, and that is an ace for Jake's Kittens into the base.
Scooped as the main character is looking like a nice show for Jake's Kittens. So huge on the gameplay, the laning advantages, the team fight skill, and all of the turrets killed just by one guy.
Go for it.
Really making this game work for himself and showing that he can compete with the big carries coming down from Academy.
A dominant victory through and through for Jake's Kittens. Haven't ended the game just yet, but you know they can do it anytime they want. One last time to try to pat the KDAs, just gets a little bit of extra gold. A GXD at 10 might be a little bit better for the supportive third party, but either way, Jake's Kittens with a dominant victory to start off the summer split.
Yeah, well done. That's exactly what I wanted to see here from Jake's Kittens. I wanted to see the old guys, you know, the veterans take a backseat and make sure that the new blood was really getting their time in the sun. I think Scooped really showed that to us. Aaron as well, setting up for a lot of these ganks on Talia. The Weaver's Walls, like I said, that's a really hard spell. It's a really master and get right, but it felt like he was on point with every single one of those. I really liked the gameplay from the newcomers here. And, you know, it's weird saying that Scooped is a newcomer considering he did just win the last Proving Grounds qualifier here for Unified. But, again, the company is different this time, and he's making it look just as good.
And that's kind of the thing when we think about this Jake's Kittens roster. You have Ryoma and Prismal, who are definitely super established. They're going to do their thing. They're going to be really good all the time. And then the question just is, what can the rest of these younger players do? Porsche played the weak side very, very well. Aaron, of course, had the really good roams. And Scooped was the main character, as you said, for this game. And looking pretty good for them, especially as they continue to go on throughout the tournament.
This is a great look. I'm hoping that they keep this carry performance up on this squad. As we mentioned, this is the 4-1 team in this group. This is the 2nd seed overall. See if they can keep this momentum going and hopefully win this group from here.
They're on a good track to do so, I would say. They have 3 more wins to get to that spot. But before we go any further, got to throw things back over to Hawk and the Death to break things down. Hawk, take it away.